Welcome to the Misfit Boyz podcast, where we talk about stuff and things. My name is Cheyenne Goglis, and I am the moderator, moral compass, and sometimes referee of the show. I am joined today by
Armando, a.k.a. Dream Killer, a.k.a. working with a bunch of amateurs.
Renowned mother lover, Mikey B.
A former door-to-door salesman, Jeff.
I tried.
Gentlemen, start your beverages. All right, Armando, what do you got over there?
This caca called Natural Light, Natty Ice, whatever they want to call it. I don't know what they call this crap, but this is, yeah, it's not flavorful.
Enthusiastic as always.
I tell you.
To let the listening audience know, we decided that we would go economy with our beer this week, and
Flying coach.
almost immediately regretting our choices here. Michael, what do you got over there?
Well, I have some Natural Light as well, which...
Keeping with the tradition of Armando bogarting everybody's beers.
Exactly. And I
Hey,
don't
I
believe
bought
this
some
stuff
good
should
beer,
even
Right.
be on the
Yeah, that
shelves. I mean, to be honest, this stuff is... It's caca. It's water.
Brewed since 1977. Like, who's been drinking this crap since 1977?
Urban
Yo,
outdoorsmen.
mama.
Urban outdoorsmen drink that religiously. That's homeless. That's code for homeless.
University of Florida fans.
Which it's been flying off the shelves since their coach has been fired and they lost yet again.
I think they're drinking something else, Jeff. Yeah, something you couldn't find.
Oh, no. I am drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon, an old standby. This was my second choice. I was looking for the true classic. I feel like I've gained a bit of a reputation here. On the first episode, I'm drinking out of a bottle, like I'm Mr. Moneybags from Monopoly. Then I'm drinking blueberry, wheat ales, highfalutin craft beers. So I decided to go back to my roots, my origin story, which is Milwaukee's Best Light, which is the first beer I can remember my dad drinking as a kid. You know, as a kid, you're always, go get me a beer. Like, you got to go out to the garage and grab a beer for dad. The first beer I can ever really remember is Milwaukee's Best Light. Unfortunately, I started a little late in the day, so all the alcoholics had already purchased it at two different stores. So I have a Pabst Blue Ribbon, good old PBR.
Well, it's definitely popular amongst the youngins these days. You see specials, $2
See,
PBRs
I
all over
couldn't
the place
completely
now.
leave the hipster beers. Like, I couldn't leave the blueberry craft beers. I had to go to PBR.
You had to get the hipster economy beer. There's definitely a subtle trace running through this. We're peeling back the layers. That is Jeff Hunter.
There's a theme here. I feel like I'm becoming typecast.
Well, I didn't know we were supposed to be pulling beer. Well, not that if we pulled beer from what we drank when we were younger, mine would be around Red Dog. You guys remember that?
Oh my God. Jeez.
Yeah.
Talk about something I haven't thought of in 15 years.
It tastes better than this crap that I'm drinking now. I wash my feet with this stuff.
Natural Light, no. Natural Ice, you spend the extra 10 cents, you get the natural ice. I promise you, it's a world of difference.
It's completely different world.
World of difference in natural ice,
Like,
and I think it's a little bit more alcohol too. So you pay the extra 10 cents, and you know
That
where
0.1%.
you can tell where your money is
Makes a
spent.
difference.
So when you guys were kids, young and in college or high school or whatever, like, what was the keg? Like, when you would go to a party, what was the beer that was in the keg?
Budweiser.
Budweiser?
Yeah, Budweiser.
Yeah, it was either Butter or Bud Light.
See, I feel like it was probably Natty Light, Like, it was...
And I also had a few Coors Light kegs back in the day.
That's if
Yeah,
you had an
Coors
extra
Light.
$10
Definitely
to spend up for the
Okay,
Coors
well, yeah,
Light.
so what was the upgrade?
We thought we were...
Like, if you knew it was a
well,
good
going
party,
hard,
like, what did they have?
For me, the low grade, I think probably the lowest grade was either Red Dog or I don't even know if you guys remember this beer, Southpaw. It was made by the same company, Red Dog, and I think it was a subsidiary of Michelob or Busch
I don't
or something
even
like
remember
that.
Southpaw.
No, never heard
And
of
it was pretty bad. If we were to upgrade, it would be Bud Light.
Bud Light.
Yeah. Like, I think
Rarely
that was
would I
probably
see
the
Miller
upgrade
Lite.
was Bud Light.
It would be a lighter beer, but you would never see like Amberbach. You would never see Killian's, anything like that. That's when I knew I made it, is when I had a Christmas party and I had a keg of Killian's. I mean, I was happy.
You're a man.
I was so happy.
As he knew he was a grown up at that point.
Moving on up.
That's it.
So what was your upgraded? If you were drinking,
Oh man, I mean, we were drinking Budweiser. I mean, Coors Light. I remember that. I don't think so. I don't think there was anything. Most of the people I hung out with, they were pretty basic. Bud Light, Budweiser,
Yeah.
Coors Light, stuff like that. So
And now there's sort of been the craft beer resurgence in like the past 10 years or so,
yeah,
where now
IPAs,
everything's craft beer.
stuff
I'll say
like
this:
that.
when I went to Total Wine to try and see if they had Milwaukee's Best Light, which they were sold out of because it cost $6 for an 18 pack. And then I went to Publix to see if they had it, and I noticed something at the Publix cold beer section. It's organized from right to left,
Yes.
where like the worst, crappiest beers are on the right,
Mhm.
PBR all the way down on the right, and then the expensive craft beers are all the way over on the left. So on the left,
Nice.
it's the like Coppertail, Blue Moon towards the left. On the right, it's your Busch Light, Natty Light,
Milwaukee.
PBR, Milwaukee's Best Ice, something like that. And then like right in the middle is probably like Yingling. Is right in the middle.
Yeah.
It's the
But Yingling's good.
It is.
That's
That's
good.
I'm
It's
a
America's
Yingling
oldest
fan.
brewery.
Yeah.
Zero hate for
yeah. I
Yuengling.
drink
That's
a lot
some
of
good
Yingling,
stuff
but it was
right
just
there.
funny to me. It was exactly like dead center. If you measured it, it was like dead center right in the middle.
Well, I'll tell you what wasn't dead center. I'll tell you what was on the bottom shelf is the beer that I cracked open for this podcast. It is the finest of the beer you'll find out on the street. It is Steel Reserve, 8.1% alcohol, high gravity lager, and that must be French for piss water. Because just cracking this open, I immediately started regretting my choice. It is somewhere between New Orleans gutter water and probably unfiltered Hillsborough River.
So piss in both cases.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lean more toward New Orleans gutter. Oh, jeez, I don't even think I can finish that.
That crap.
Fantastic.
Looking at that can reminds me of when I used to hit the little convenience store up, and the guy knew me and knew I shouldn't be drinking at my age, but would allow me to buy Mad Dog 2020. Mountain Liquor. Mad Dog 2020. That was the crap I would. Worst stuff you could drink in your life, but hey, it was the only stuff I could buy at a young age. So.
Mad Dog, OE 800, Old English, right?
Oh, the
Old English. Yeah.
Mickey's Big Mouth, right? And then Ice House. Ice House had the big bottles just like Mickey's, which is making a resurgence. I've seen the large cans of Ice House next to the Steel Reserve, same shelf, and you're gonna love this. Bud Ice is coming back.
It's out, yeah.
24
No, there's Bud Ice. I saw
24
that on
ounce
the
can
shelves.
of Bud Ice, 2 slots over from this, and I was so tempted to get it instead because I knew that at least Bud Ice would taste better than this. But I decided to stay true to my intentions and go with just the crappiest beer I could find.
I feel like I'm drinking the crappiest beer. Like every time I take another sip of it, it just gets worse.
It's not
and
great.
Worse on the taste buds
It's
in my
really,
mouth.
it's not great.
I'll be honest with you. I think
I
what
don't
we
think
need to
any of
take.
these are
I
great,
honestly
to be
think.
honest.
I personally, I'm regretting my choice in beverage.
Well, I know.
I want.
I almost feel like
can
if
we
I
take
lick
a
the
time
sweat
out? Can
from
I go
somebody's
brush
ass
my
crack,
teeth
It's gonna be
with-
better than this beer.
Well, hey,
Jesus.
here's the thing. I'm okay. Like it's PBR. Like I'm okay with this. Who do you think has it off worse between Mike and Armando with the Natural Light and Cheyenne with the Steel Reserve?
You know, I got my chaser at least with Jack and Coke, so I'm okay.
Well, I'm going to say that I'm better off because
the
I've got
Natty
a
Light-
higher alcohol content. About halfway through this
Yeah.
24
You're about
ounce
8%
can of
higher in
beer,
alcohol.
I'm not going to
content.
care what it tastes like
You
anymore.
got an 8.1. We have a 0.1 is what
And-
we're drinking.
If-
and it's,
if
and it's
they're-
essentially
if that,
colored
I mean-
water, the natural light.
Right.
But that's
well,
it's
that's
cold.
why you
and
see a lot of these guys drink it, right? They're drinking like 24. I could do 24 pack of natural. You're not really drinking alcohol, buddy. Don't be
Not a
talking.
man.
Might as well be just drinking a 24 pack of Gatorade at that point. Jesus.
Yeah, a lot of water. A lot of water in the
That's
A lot of
what
water.
we're drinking, a lot of water here. It's nothing big. It just gets crappier and crappier every time I taste it.
Are you gonna bail?
It's
Are
your-
you
your
just-
palate-
are you
your
just cutting
palate's-
out?
your
You
palate's
gotta do the
adjusting.
16
All
ounces.
right.
You gotta get through
I'm,
the 16
I'm 30
ounces.
something years old now. My palate's way above this grade. It's like, come on, where's the good stuff at?
I'm not-
Roche?
I'm pretty sure if I
Heineken.
finish this can of Steel Reserve, I'm going to immediately
You got the
regret
tall
it.
boy too.
Yeah, well, it was the only one
sure
that I
you
had. You
You
know?
went
I'm
real
pretty sure if you
aggressive
finish
there,
that,
Cheyenne.
You're
You
going to
went
be on
real
the floor next to your mic in the fetal position while the rest of us finish the podcast.
Not because I'm drunk, but because my stomach is rejecting
That's
it.
right. No, not drunk. You're just going to be dying of natural causes from that crap. Whatever they
Steel
shoveled in
Reserve.
that can.
Now
May
with
cause
dysentery.
There's not one of our stomachs that are ready for this crap that we're drinking.
Oh,
Yeah, I gotta say, I was drinking Sam Adams cherry wheat before
Oh,
this, and
it's delicious.
going from cherry wheat to Pabst Blue Ribbon is it's a drop off there.
Just a little bit.
It's like falling down an elevator shaft, no elevator.
have you ever seen people cliff diving? Because that's exactly what his taste buds did.
Like I gotta say, I don't feel good. I don't feel great.
It's starting to get a little warm up there.
It is warm. Well,
Man, I don't know if it's the AC at my house or it's the damn beer I'm drinking making me feel warm. right
Yeah,
now.
we have moved venues here. We have we've
we're
gone
not
from
in-
my house to Armando's house.
so we don't have the cool vent that's right over that dining room table of yours, which keeps us cool from all this overheating recording equipment from frying us. But
On the plus
it's a nice
side-
change.
Is
It's a
that-
nice
is that
venue.
the
I don't
noise
know how much
heard?
of
I
a
thought it was Mike's breathing in the microphone.
What is so bad about that?
On the plus side, Armando and Cheyenne and Mike did not have to walk up Mount Everest to get to my house.
That
Which
is
I
my
think
front
was
door.
a
That is the single worst-
little exaggerated.
that is the
because,
worst. That is the worst driveway in the
it's
history
not.
of driveways possibly ever.
Yeah, I mean,
I think you guys just need to.
It's
get
actually
out
better
a
than it
little
used to be
more.
because there used to be this huge dip in it that got
You're-
patched.
Your house is about 15 feet from the curb, but it's on a 20-foot up. It's 20 feet straight up.
Yeah, well, all I gotta
45
say,
degree angle.
you might
No
you might as well drive the Skyway at that
Safe.
point.
no flood insurance.
There's a hurricane, you go to Jeff's
That's
house.
all I gotta say.
After going up and down your driveway, I no longer fear the Falcons Fury at Busch Gardens.
You got that calf workout.
Like, this is nothing. And we have a special guest with us here today for our can check. My son William. What do you have here? What's this?
The Sprite.
Sprite what?
Sprite Cranberry Zero.
All right. Go ahead, take a sip.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
What does it taste like?
Cranberry.
All right, William. Go ahead and just sit there in the corner, drink your Sprite Zero, and be still for Daddy. Thank you. On to other things. Speaking of William, took him trick or treating this past Tuesday in the new neighborhood. Kind of split shifts with Stephanie, but we also had our old neighbors who came over and brought their kids, and then we had some other folks come over. It turned into a whole thing. Are you tapping out? You tapping out on
We
that?
can't even get through another sip. Holy shit.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Where the hell are your
I'm gonna
college
go get
days?
my
They're way
Miami
behind.
Vice. I'll be right back.
Go get your
God
Miami Vice.
damn.
Armando has been TKO'd by
Wow.
Natty Light.
I thought we were all men here.
I'm not. I'm going to put
Jeez.
this Steel Reserve down in just
Well,
a
the
moment.
PBR came in a 4-pack.
Hold on.
No, no.
Hey, is he over
Listen,
here?
I'm not
saying we're
committing to
men?
all 4. I'm committing to 1.
Is he
Man enough to
talking
get
shit?
through a
Isn't
can
he-
of crap.
He's
Come on.
got a chaser. He's drinking Jack
Yeah,
Daniels
the
over here. and
JD
he's
honey.
Listen,
He's taking
At
Jack
least
and
you got a
sips of
chaser.
beer.
Well, you ain't doing
So,
it right. I don't know what to tell
I'm
you.
gonna,
What are you drinking now?
I'm gonna switch to Miami Weiss, but except it's the Mega Mix Pale Ale. Sounded delightful.
It
when I
looks
saw it on the
delightful.
shelf.
It looks like
Good can appeal.
It's got like an old 80s, kind of like the one you were drinking, the old Miami Vice. It's got the old 80s feel, which I really like.
It does.
Like
And I said this. I said this
Bandito
last
out of
time.
Miami.
It does look exactly like the Miami Subs logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, the can is black and it looks like it was on the receiving end of a paintball
Now that's a beer.
paintball party.
I didn't even drink it. All I had to do was smell it. That's a beer. That's it. Oh my
wuss.
god, that's what my taste buds in my stomach needed right there.
Yeah.
My
I'm gonna start
lord.
singing Amazing Grace. It's like it's having a
I
spiritual
almost
experience.
felt like when I opened it, like a glow came out of it. It was like,
It's like the suitcase in Pulp Fiction.
yeah. We got
Never,
it. We're
never
good.
found out what was in that suitcase.
It's,
And that was
it
kind
was
of
a
the-
Miami Weiss.
It might have been a
I
Miami
think
Vice.
It was a Miami Vice.
Oh, so so to recap, for Halloween we had one bowl of of toys and Halloween themed items for kids who had food allergies and that kind of stuff. And then we had the other big bowl full of all sorts of horrible for you candy treats. I bought a bunch of bags, kept the receipts just in case, because I wasn't sure with the new neighborhood how badly we were going to get ransacked, because we were probably one of the most decorated houses on the street. We ran out of toys before we ran out of candy. All the kids were gravitating to all these little, the creepy novelty toy glasses and fake skeletons and stuff like that. And it's kind of cool. It's something different for them, because candy gets kind of boring, I guess, after a while. But they were going to town on that stuff. So we'll know better for next year. But we had fun, and thank God it was nice and cool that evening, because we were all wearing heavier. The steel. My body's rejecting the steel reserve right now.
You're about to have to tap out too, ain't you?
Don't die us again.
Yeah. Oh man.
But thank God it was unseasonably cool, because it was probably the best Halloween I can remember in recent history. It was a beautiful night.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was. It was great. I hate sweating, so fact that I could walk around the block there with my kid and the neighbors was nice.
Yeah.
Had a little jacket on. It was great.
I stayed put. I went over to see my parents near Orlando, and they just sort of went over to their neighbors, hung out in the driveway, had the tiki torches out,
Nice.
and just drank beer and handed out candy.
That's beautiful. That's awesome. I know there's somebody else at work said that whenever Halloween falls on a weekend, they have like beer and like Jello shots at the end of the driveway. They're handing out treats for the kids, and then they hand out treats for the adults.
Yeah.
So they got like beers and Jello shots, stuff like
yeah.
that. So I'm really looking forward to Halloween on the weekend, which is going to be in about 5 years.
All right. So this came up during Halloween. I have a philosophical question to pose to the podcast. How old are you to stop trick or treating? How old do you? Like, what's the cutoff? What's the age cutoff? Because there was a kid.
There's a big debate.
There's a
about
kid
that.
who came around who was shaving for sure.
I blame the hormones and the chickens and the milk.
He lifted up
He
his
was
hockey
probably 8
mask
years
and
old.
he had like a full beard. So
I would say.
said he was 14.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, the way kids are growing nowadays, it's possible, I guess. But
Well, I listen.
I don't know.
I think I think 13 should be the cutoff. Like my son went this year and is 12 years old, and I think about next year is his cutoff point. Maybe he's got 1 year left in him, but I think when you get to, especially when you have a damn beard, okay, you shouldn't be trick or treating.
Well, if you can pull off a costume, I mean, why not? If you like candy. I mean, I stopped.
I'm with
at
Becker.
like-
okay,
you
well,
got to earn
yeah.
it. If
Well, I
you're
was
going to
gonna
come
say,
trick or treating and you're 15 or 16 years old, you need to have a rockin' costume, and I'll give you a couple of those fun size Milky Ways.
I'll be
you know
honest,
what? Nice work. You want to go out and have fun and try to recapture your youth from 3 years ago? Go for it. But you better don't be putting a sack over your head and say you're a Bucks fan and say trick or treat, because I will punch you in your entire
That's actually
face.
that would be a really good costume. And this kid, no, he had a hoodie and he had a Jason mask on, which I feel. I mean, you got to put a little
That's
bit
not good
more.
enough.
You got to put a little bit more work.
It's a
into it.
little creepy, yeah, absolutely. If he was dressed up like, say, like
He
Kylo
probably would have
Ren,
been shot.
had
if
like
he'd
the
stepped
mask and a
outside my door.
lightsaber running around or whatever. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
There
Yeah.
was in the neighborhood we trick or treated at. It was really cool. There was a kid. He was probably about 14 or 15, dressed in a red and black clown outfit, mask. I mean, it was really cool. He was sitting on the porch in his chair, and very still. In fact, I didn't even know it was a kid in that costume. I thought it was just, somebody that was sitting back, like they dressed it up or whatever. And he came out and scared the kids. It was epic. Now the kids looked like they probably pooped their pants a little bit, but I thought it was hilarious.
That's great. That's what you need. You need a little more of that on Halloween. That's what it's all about.
little bit more trick.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Forget
yeah,
the trees.
definitely,
It's
yeah.
all about
right?
trick
Yeah,
now.
it's
I mean,
Halloween,
once you get to that age.
There's nothing wrong with that. What do you think, Hunter? Would you be happy if you had a
That's a
trick or
good
treater
cutoff.
who came in?
Yeah, I think like 13, good cutoff. You know.
I was a hockey player until I was 17, skating around houses and trying to find the houses that had the bowls outside saying, please take one, and stealing the whole bowl. But,
Jesus,
that's
what
just
a
me.
What exactly do you mean were?
I've been a little
You've been
bit of a
impersonating a
scumbag.
hockey player for years
Yeah.
now.
Listen, I mean,
By were you mean
if you can
last
do it
Tuesday.
good,
Yeah.
why not?
He means this past Tuesday he was skating around his neighborhood taking the candy from the kids. Oh, take one. Put the whole bowl in there.
Hell
It's the
no.
hockey
Kids
bandit.
came up behind him. He's like, "That's my candy."
So,
Came home, his girlfriend wondering where he got all that candy from. Oh, kids were just dropping it off to me.
Actually,
so
I have
what were you guys handing out?
Oh, I didn't hand out any candy because we went.
Yeah, because you were
trick-or-treating.
trick-or-treating.
Yeah, in my neighborhood, a lot of the kids and parents and all of us, we hang out in the driveways first. Eat some pizza, let the kids play a little bit, everybody chat. Then we hit up some of the houses here, but then we go across the street to the big neighborhood, the good neighborhood.
There
They
you
give
go.
out full-size
Full-size
candy
candy
bars.
I was going to say the
You know,
full-size
chips, yeah.
Snickers.
They give out the
neighborhood.
good stuff. They give out the margaritas, the beer, the Jello shots. So we went over
Some
there.
spicy margs.
And just if anybody's listening that decides that on Halloween you should dig out the oldest candy that you could find because you're too damn lazy to go to the store, literally a kid should punch you in the face when you hand out Easter candy or like candy from Santa.
Well, that's how you get tricked. If you're going to hand out crappy candy, or you're not going to be handing out treats and stuff like that, you get the trick.
Yeah. Well, I wrote those numbers down. So I know which houses they are.
Yeah,
You're not
I'm
They'll
on
be
just making
seeing
a
me
list.
later. That's right. You're on my naughty list.
Checking that's a different holiday, but still.
You're not going to be swatting them, are you?
Never know what you might do.
Calling in bomb threats of the SWAT
Never
team
know
shows
what you
up
might
at
do.
their address.
Might just disable everything in their home. They probably have smart homes in those big old homes. Just go ahead and kill everything in that thing.
Not everything, just a few things like kill the switch for
Yeah,
the TV, but not the DVR.
Just play with them. Yeah.
For the light in the dining room, but not in the kitchen. Just certain appliances you shut off. Just
You don't even have to do that.
they'll
Just shut the
think there's a
internet
short
off.
somewhere in the house. Call an electrician. It just you just hit him where it hurts in
Exactly.
the wallet.
Exactly. And they bet you'll think twice about passing out some Easter candy at Halloween.
All right, on to the hockey-related portion of the show.
This is a hockey show?
I had no idea.
Upon occasion, we do stumble upon the hockey subject. So, just recently, I think it was just in the last couple days, Kerry Fraser, retired referee of 30 years for the NHL, recently shared that he had a diagnosis of a rare blood disorder. It's a rare chronic blood disorder that is essentially it's been classified as cancer. It's not a death sentence per se, where he has only X amount of time to live, but it's a condition where it causes the clotting factor in your blood to basically clot too much. So he needs to be on blood thinners, and he's not going to be able to pursue some of the activities that he had wanted to after he retired, like mountain climbing or all these other things. If he had not been diagnosed, he could have died of a stroke or a heart-related issue because of a blockage from this clotting factor. But luckily, he was, getting, his normal checkup, and they were able to find it. Did a diagnostic test to find it. I personally, I couldn't happen to a worse guy. Most people don't like referees in the NHL. This guy was a consummate professional his entire time. I don't know anybody who ever hated Kerry Fraser. This guy was the last referee in the NHL to put on a helmet. Back when they started the helmet rule back in the 80s, you know how a lot of the players were grandfathered in and didn't have to wear helmets. I think Craig McTavish was the last regular player to play without a helmet, and I think he retired without playing a helmet. Kerry Fraser eventually ended up wearing a helmet, I think, his last couple years. But I think the main reason he didn't is because he had this big mane of red hair that looked like a helmet. He certainly put enough product on it to keep it from moving. No matter how hard he skated up and down the ice, the hair did not move. And so my friend from college would lovingly refer to him as Kerry Fraser and his hair. Because he would just skate up and down the ice, and the hair would not move an iota. It just stayed still.
And I think for guys like us, who came of age as hockey fans in the 90s and the 2000s, Kerry Fraser is absolutely, when you think of a referee, you think of Kerry Fraser. In part because he did have the iconic haircut. He had that, that gelled down hair, and I can remember watching a game once where I think he got hit in the head with a stick. And the announcers were joking, saying they were sort of surprised that could actually penetrate his hair, to actually hit his skull.
Kerry Frazier is essentially like the Ed Hockley from the NFL. Everybody knows
Exactly
who Ed Hockley is in the NFL. Again, a consummate professional, very fit consummate professional.
Yeah.
For a lawyer, that guy spends way too much time in the gym. But you know who Ed Hockley is.
All right. So we got off on a tangent here now. We're talking about Ed Hockley. There was a photo of him. I think it was during Monday Night Football. There was a photo of John Gruden's son, I want to say, like Skip Gruden or something like that. He had like a weird first name. But his son is absolutely jacked. Has these enormous arms. His arms are actually bigger than Hockley's. It was just weird to see the two of them. But his son is also like probably like 5'6" or something like that. And Hockley is just towering over him. He's like a head and a half taller than him.
Well, they say the shorter guys are able to gain muscle a lot easier and a lot quicker, but I've never tested that theory myself. But I did want to just share that with the Kerry Frazier thing. The Hockey Fights Cancer, they have a month-long fundraising drive during October to support not only just breast cancer but also cancers that affect males and just cancer in general. Cancer sucks, and everybody's all behind the fight against cancer, which, believe it or not, and I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Hockey Fights Cancer actually started in the Tampa Bay area. John Cullen was a forward for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Was forced out of the lineup during the 96-97 season because he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma, and he went into therapy and was able to kick it. Came back, tried to stay with the team the next season, made it 3 or 4 games in the NHL, 3 in the minor leagues, and then he decided to retire. But there was Tim Harmon of the Moffitt Cancer Center at USF was inspired by his fight and partnered with the Lightning to help raise awareness and money for cancer research. Then the NHL and the Union jumped in '98, and that's where the Hockey Fights Cancer started. And so it's been in effect for 20 years now.
Yeah, for a great cause.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who would have thought Florida did something good?
Well, I distinctly remember it because, when he first got diagnosed, it was a big blow to the team. And they had a patch that year. I know the Tampa Bay fans will remember. It was a 4-leaf clover with the number 12 on it. And all the players wore the patch on their jersey in support of Johnny Cullen while he was fighting the cancer. So there's some, if you ever see that, if you go to a Lightning game and you see that patch, you'll know what the significance of that patch is. I got a pin one of the games that season. They were handing out pins to all the fans, and I have that pin in my hockey display case as a reminder. Fight the good fight.
Doesn't discriminate, that's for sure. Cancer. They announced this year too at the beginning of the season that Eddie Olczyk, the Chicago Blackhawks announcer, was diagnosed with colon cancer also. So a lot of stuff going on this season with people. So
yeah, we also have Nicole Anderson, who just fought her battle with cancer, and I believe she is cancer free now. But what a year that was last year, going through Craig Anderson, and
yeah, it was very. And
who
it was
knows
very
how much time he was taking off, and
yeah, and it was. After she came back, it was very emotional to see Craig Anderson coming back, because I think everybody really felt for him, and see him come back and play so well, play to the Eastern Conference Finals. It was definitely a feel-good story, and I'll definitely say one of the big storylines from last season that I remember is Brian Bickle from the Hurricanes being diagnosed with MS, I believe. Yep. And that was him talking to reporters and just sort of coming to terms with that was very emotional, and then it was a great moment seeing him come back. I think one of the last games of the season, maybe the last game against the Flyers, and scoring the winning goal in the shootout.
Yep.
I think he came to Chicago this season too to retire.
Yeah, Chicago gave him a one-day contract to retire with the Blackhawks, which was stand up. I mean, when you look at it though, Chicago's not the only organization that stand up. A lot of the NHL teams out there are stand up organizations for their players. So he had 3 cups with the Blackhawks. Why not, right? Let him retire a Hawk.
Yeah.
And absolutely. It's the right thing to do.
Brian Boyle, I think, dealing with leukemia diagnosis right now, and still
playing.
Still playing. I think he made his debut recently, didn't he?
Just 2 nights ago. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. It's an ass kicker, but the thing is that you can't stop fighting, and then the people whoever's got the cancer, they need the support of their friends and their family. If not more than ever during that time of their lives, that's the way that they get through that is to have the help during the struggle. It's a team effort. It's not a singular fight, but having the support system around them certainly helps buck up their spirits and gives them purpose and drive to push through punishing rounds of chemo and radiation. And it's very devastating to the body. I've seen a lot of patients who are in different stages of cancer and treatment recovery, and every single one of them that's fighting is courageous, and I tell them that because it is not an easy fight. But thankfully these days more people are getting checked out, more people are doing getting diagnostic stuff done to try to catch these things earlier, because the earlier the better. So if you're of that age and you know who you are, you stop putting it off, get it scheduled, get it done.
Now, I don't know if any of you guys watched the Ranger game this past week. I didn't. But
You're
Mike
damn
did.
right I
Mike,
did.
can we talk about this?
I'm sorry, who is that? The Rangers?
3-player
The resurgent Rangers.
fine that they got?
The 2 in a row.
2 in a row. First
All right,
2-game win streak.
We gotta look here. Let's
here we go.
check in
For
for
God's
the
sake.
2-game
Michael
win
Becker
streak.
threat level.
Listen, no,
the Rangers are
how
at
suicidal
orange.
are you?
I want to
That's
bring
the
back
color of his shirt.
episode 1, where I said it would take them 15 games to get back into their flow, figure out the system, get things right.
Why? 'Cause
I'd like that tape played back if you don't mind.
All right.
You know,
How
Of the snoring? Because
Of
we
the
can
snoring.
replay
We
that
can bring the
live right
snoring.
now. If you
how
like.
much danger is Elaine Vigneault in this week?
well, after
On a scale of
after
on a
beating
scale
the
of
Lightning,
1 to you being outside his house with a sniper rifle, where are we?
well, I'm not really considering much jail time for myself right now. So, if we were, I'd be at the sniper rifle point, but I don't think he's going anywhere right now, especially after being the supposed top team in the league.
Not supposed
but-
it's backed up by stats. Still has we have the
for
most points
10
of any
games
team
this
in the league
season.
as
But-
of today. That could change tomorrow. It's
You
still
know,
very, very close right now.
Changed their lineup tonight after beating one of the best teams in the league, which is kind of surprising. They scratched David Desharnais, who has 7 points in 14 games, and it's just interesting to see what they're going to do. I don't know how much longer he has, but I was kind of hoping they would lose to the Knights and get rid of him, bring up Ruff. And who knows what's going to happen now? He might be free for the whole season after winning that one game.
So for a guy who wants to see this head coach dismissed so badly, you were crowing over the text messages the other night about how the Lightning got a whooping, which I believe it was 2-1.
Well, of course, yeah. I'm going to
in
be
overtime.
excited. I mean,
It's not a whooping.
we kind of.
How do you define a whooping?
Well,
what is
listen,
a whooping?
listen.
Can somebody give me the definition of a
What
whooping?
happened is the
What had
Rangers
happened
came
was
into
A 3-goal margin.
your arena. And
That's a whooping, right? A 3-goal margin. So would
That's
it be
not a
fair to
3-goal
say,
margin.
Jeff, that the Blackhawks put a whooping on the Flyers this week?
No, because one of them was nipped now.
No, not.
Three goals.
Did you just not say 3-goal differential?
Okay, they all have to be
One was an empty
non-empty
netter.
netter
They
goals.
scored in the same game. It's not like it was 1-0, 1-0, 1-0.
Oh, now it's got to be a non-empty netter. Now it's got to be a
No,
non.
no, no.
Now we're gonna go down to a
Listen,
technicality.
I wanna bring this
Well,
back
look,
to
I
the
don't make
Rangers
the
and
rules. All
Lightning.
right.
It's got to be a 3-goal differential
Rangers.
unless it's against the struggling Flyers.
Oh,
If you're going to
okay.
do a whooping on the Flyers, you got to score at least 5-6 goals because they're like redheaded stepchild.
you gotta-
Everybody should be able to beat.
You got to
them.
be getting in double digits against the
All
Flyers.
right, I got
So-
you. I got you.
I just want to say the Rangers came into town, bottom 5 team in the league right now
Are we
after
still
10
talking about these
games,
guys?
and
Apparently.
they played
He
the
doesn't
Lightning,
change the
who
subject
are
very well.
number 1 in the league.
He
Right
is
now.
so on beating the Lightning
And
like it was like God's
they-
gift.
they
outplayed
They
these
could go
guys.
70-12, or they could go 12-70. And if a couple of those games are
70-12,
winning against the
I would
Lightning, we
absolutely
will
take
hear
it
about it
any day of the
nonstop through the
But
playoffs.
there's
as the
84
Lightning are
games in the
marching to
season.
Eastern
What about the other
Conference
two?
Finals.
I know.
Be like,
And
oh yeah, but you
If
remember
you don't,
back on
if
such
you
and
don't
such
take that
day.
title, I mean, what does it really mean?
Yes,
You know?
Sunday it is.
It is what it is. You know, the only thing that matters at the end is winning that cup. So
This
Who
is
cares
true,
if
which
how
you're
far
not
you
going to
get?
see in your lifetime, so don't even worry about
I've
that.
already seen it. I was 3
Oh my
years
God.
old,
You
and I
know,
was there to live through it, and that's all that matters.
It doesn't
So I
take
was
much
alive.
to turn around a franchise, but
Everything's good.
if you're going to start with the head coach, then the players need to start diving more. They need to start
Well,
just
I
letting
think that he,
letting teams that are supposed to beat them,
I
and tell
agree.
King Henry that he needs to start letting some soft goals in because
Well,
the
listen,
Lightning
I
had
mean,
28
have
shots
you been watching
on.
the game?
Vasilevsky was no slouch that game as well. I mean, that guy
Lucas-
stood on his head. So.
Lucas
No,
stopped
it was a very, very close
27
game.
of 28 shots. Vasilevsky had 35 shots on goal.
And 7 of those were
And
breakaways.
he stopped
so.
all of them but 2. So yeah, he carried the Lightning, and the Lightning needed to generate more offense, especially against a struggling team like the Rangers. However, King Henry is in for a dime, in for a dollar. He's backstopping your
He's
your
35
team.
years old. He had one good game. So
He had one
you know,
good
we're
game
gonna-
against
we're
the
gonna see what
Lightning.
happens.
That should say something to the Rangers. Like, he's not
They
quitting.
need to
He's not giving up.
play defense in front of him. They played the structured game that they should have been playing all year long, and you can see what they do when things are cooking right.
All right, so you think that after one game that they're going to keep this streak going? That they're
Oh
gonna play the way
no!
they play?
It starts tonight in Florida again against the Panthers.
Okay,
Let's see if they can keep what they want to do.
if you can't beat the Panthers, you should just shoot yourself.
Then they should fire AV. They should not go
Sniper
off his
rifle.
Yeah, sniper your own
Hashtag
ass.
fire
I'm gonna
AV.
say they win 8-3.
Mike's on the plane to New
8-3
York.
against Florida.
8-3
8-3
against
against Florida. You heard
So
it
let
here
me-
first, folks.
So let me ask you a
on
question: If they
Tuesday or
lose
Wednesday.
to Florida,
2 empty netters. Well, I want 2 empty netters though. I'm gonna say 6-3, 6 goals, 2 empty netters.
This is like
So technically not a whooping.
Oh, that's a whooping.
oh,
It's 3 goals.
yeah, because empty netters don't count, right?
this is like that show on HBO, Last Week Tonight. You're hearing all these predictions for the day, and then you hear it a couple days later, like, oh my God, they predicted the future.
right. Holy shit! How do you know?
There's no way we went
Well,
back and edited this show.
And I'll say this: the Flyers lost to Phoenix, to winless Phoenix on Monday night.
yeah,
I
terrible.
don't know a Flyers fan alive who is not absolutely convinced that Phoenix was going to come into Philly and beat the Flyers. It was
Not-
it was
not
gravity,
going in
it
there
was
0-12.
taxes, it was death. You knew it was going to happen. You knew they were going to come in, and they were going to
We thought they were going to
beat
beat the Rangers. I mean,
the Flyers.
who knows with them? They're terrible. I don't know what their deal is.
How did that make you feel, Jeff? Tell us.
I was a little annoyed because the Flyers scored 2 goals in the last minute to tie it up and take it to overtime, and then they
Well, you know what
then
happened
they
is,
lost.
just like a men's league team coming in, they think, they got this, no problem, and
Mhm.
took them too easily.
That's exactly
what
it. They say any given Sunday, any given game. I mean, that's why you still play the game. You don't know who's going to actually show up. You're going to come in, you're ranked number 1 or number 2 in the league or what have you. You got to go in and you got to play like you're ranked number 16 or 17. You got to go in with fight.
You
You
got to
have
fight
to.
for that playoff
Because if you
spot
just go
every
in there
year.
and think you're going to have an easy game, and how many times have we experienced that personally? We go in, oh, we got this. Oh, wait
on
a
every
minute.
goddamn
Oh, wait a
Sunday.
second.
On a
Oh,
weekly
that-
basis?
I
he
was just
isn't on
gonna
their
say,
team. Who's that
You mean
guy?
every Sunday?
He looks very Canadian.
by
Why
the
is
way,
he here?
Just so you guys know, this Sunday we're playing Josh in that again.
Again?
Super
Yeah.
Bowl.
Well,
fantastic.
we played Josh 8 out of 10 games, and he only belongs to really one team officially, supposedly.
Well, now he belongs.
Allegedly.
Where-
That team
Apparently
is
now-
whatever team we are playing.
Exactly.
Apparently now, through his text message to me, he is now officially the Raiders goaltender for
Oh,
the season,
no.
which is going to be fantastic. So for all of our beer leaguers that are listening to our podcast that play in our league, I guess Raiders will win.
Yeah, sounds like
the
Raiders are
season.
going to win the
Let's
season.
see. So
Not because of their offense,
Yeah.
not
Just-
because of
just
their
to rub it in, are
defense,
they bringing in
just
Mike
because
Hawk
of
too?
their goaltending.
Huh?
Well, they should,
Well,
'cause
you would
he's
think they do, but
Just
I
to
think-
complete
But
the
you know
ring
what?
package.
I think Hawk
At the
now
end
has
of
jumped
the
ship
week-
to the Knights. So, but doesn't your buddy play for that, the Pylon? He plays for the Raiders,
He
right?
plays for the Raiders, yeah.
yeah.
That guy,
So, again,
by the way,
Pylons,
very
but a good goalie.
big game respecter.
Oh
Huge.
my God, huge game respecter.
And
Because
that is
it's
a big
bigger than
factor
all
on
of
how
us.
well you play in this game.
Make sure you respect the game because
Yeah.
it is.
If you don't
bigger
respect
than
the game, you're
I
not gonna
just
play
feel
well.
like tomorrow's game is going to be a lot of fun because I'm going to be tripping a lot. I hope he's there, especially
Well-
when I dance around his little pylon butt.
I wish to God I could be there for it. He was actually there at the game last week when we were playing, and he was behind the glass when I had made that one save on on Nasty, our own teammate.
Oh, yeah.
he knocked the goal back toward us, and I happened to get a piece of it and covered it.
You're 1 for
Covered it.
2 on
I'm 1 for
on
2
your own team.
You know what? I wasn't
got a
expecting-
500 save percentage.
I
I'm not
wasn't.
putting goals on you.
The difference between those 2 goals is I was totally not expecting Rob to shoot it at me. Whereas Nasty was a little bit further away.
We weren't
and
supposed
it
to
was-
mention his name.
I could see what
We'll
was
bleep that
happening
out.
as it was
Let's
happening.
fix
and
that
I
post.
just happened to throw myself in that general direction. I got a piece of it and was able to cover and smother it. And the period ended. I turn around and there's Hunter. He's like, "Why don't you do that during the tournaments?" And I said to him, "I do. You just don't pay any attention."
How do you pay attention when you're a pylon?
My God, I swear.
He's got to worry about his skates and where he's planted.
You know what? In his defense,
Oh,
he knows that
I
he
love
is the
Cheyenne.
worst player on any team that he plays. But
Ever.
he
Thank you, Mike.
refers to the league as the old, fat, and slow league. But we all know that the league that we play in is not old, fat, and slow league.
Definitely not.
There are
really.
players that are old, fat, and slow, but
Yes.
it is not the old, fat, and slow league. The over 50 league, that's just old and slow league, and they're not necessarily fat. And I'm looking forward to getting into that range there and seeing guys who are really, really good, who used to play in the juniors, and they're tamping it down, and they're just really good with stick work. It's just not like, grease lightning down the ice.
Twine,
But
top
they're-
shelf since they were men.
Where they keep the peanut butter, exactly. Is that they're still going to score on me, but it'll be nice because they'll slow down and I'll actually be able to watch it happen as it happens. Speaking of tickling the twine top shelf where they keep the peanut butter, did you know that the Columbus Blue
It's so
Jackets are
funny
in
that
town?
We have a special guest
that
in
you
town.
know that line like to the T.
Well, I wrote it, so
It's still the funniest thing I've heard yet.
that concludes our show today. I would like to thank tonight's sponsors, Mark Nahara and the Junior Admirals, Dr. Sean Hansen, chiropractor to the stars at Tarpon Total Healthcare, and the Urban Outdoorsman Brewery. For more information on us, please visit our Facebook page, Misfit Boyz Hockey with a Z. Fresh episodes posted every Wednesday. Thank you for listening, and as long as you're not an Arizona Coyote fan, you're probably going to have a great week.